Look at the palisades. The machines of war, too many to count.
I cannot fathom it. Has Nilfgaard sent all its forces into Lyria?
No, your grace. But a single army.
Gods protect us.
The Queen uttered a juicy curse. Dravagrad stood before them, Nilfgaardians all round it. 3, perhaps 4 battalions of armoured infantry, arbalists and cavalry behind them. Trebuchet volleys had punched holes in the walls, while battering rams had twisted the main gate open. But elsewise, the city was mere moments from falling to the foe.
Doomed! We stand not a chance. Nilfgaard outnumbers us twofold. More!
Then our men must put double the spirit into the fight. Double the heart. Lyria!
Emboldened by their valiant queen and commander, the Lyrians charged headlong at Nilfgaard's lines into a hail of bolts and arrows.
Attack! Rid this city of all black-clad filth!
Your grace, I see the commander. We must train our efforts on him.
Alba!
Eri gloire!
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Your grace, there, on the horizon. Reinforcements for the foe.
To thee, gloire!
Left, right, left, right.
Alba! Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
Gloire!
Arbalist at your command.
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Scheiß in Teeth!
Armor won't serve.
Off to the front yet again.
Keep calm, Tiberius.
Lyria! One bolt.
Commissar will hear.
My spirit it's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Brach! Scheiß! In! Zwei!
Elhörzer! We must trust each other!
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
I'm coming.
What do you want of me?
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
My boots got sand aplenty in them.
Yes. Exzellent Zweifel! Elhörzer! Yes. They retreat! Your Majesty, the city's ours!
The Nilfgaardians fled in panic, abandoning war machines, shields and arms, even their wounded. The defenders rejoiced. They laughed boisterously, and cries of delight and chanting could be heard all around. "Warrior Queen," they shouted. "Meve! Meve! Meve!"
Hear that, Your Grace.
I do. No sound rings more lovely to a ruler's ear. Yet rest on our laurels we cannot. Caldwell, the situation in the town, what can you tell me?
Wall breached. Thrice. 400 wounded, near 1,000 without roofs over their heads. All nothing compared to the grain stores. Went up in smoke during the siege. And it's some time yet afore the harvest, Your Grace. The war's just begun, I know. All coins should bolster the army, yet if we leave the folk of Dravograd no gold, there will be hunger, with all the attendant discord.
You saw the state of the garrison here. Its men fought barefoot, no foot wrappings even. Is my meaning clear? I must have a strong army to command. Lacking that, other towns will fall, more grain stores will burn, and famine will visit not Dravograd alone, but all Lyria. Caldwell, the gold I need very much.
As you command, Your Grace.
The battle we've won, there's just the war that remains. And Nilfgaard will strike again, doubt it not. We must move on. Caldwell, ride ahead to Lyria. My son must call a gathering of the Council of Peers. Tell him so. We'll have much to discuss. Reynard and I will follow with the troops. We shall seek out any Nilfgaardian stragglers, prevent them from rejoining the main force.
Meve's two adjutants bowed and left the Queen to think. She was hungry, sore from the fight, spent. Yet sensing her soldiers' eyes upon her, she set off for the stable, her gait brisk, her head held high.
Guardian boots. Thought 'twas certain as snow comes with winter. Kings and emperors fight. Leave the common folk to tidy up. Never damn changes. Ever the same. Your Majesty, you saved us, and not a moment too soon. From death. And fate's worse than that, I'd say.
Golden armor!
Niamh stood surrounded by advisors, discussing, when all at once they heard a mighty thud.
Bloody hell!
They looked to see a cavalryman who'd clearly fallen from his saddle. The men who'd witnessed the blunder began to jest, only to choke on their laughter, as the wretch, having risen to his hands and knees, began to shake and vomit blood. The medic's diagnosis: poison. In spite of his best efforts, the cavalryman breathed his last that very night. Soon, several other riders developed the same symptoms, and at the last shared their comrade's fate. All were buried at the roadside, beneath an old willow.
This looks to be no coincidence,
Reynard said gravely.
Our stores of water. Someone's poisoned them. We must find the fiend. In the interim, your Majesty must quench her thirst with wine.
Milady, a strange boat floated past. I thought it imperial, but it flew not black sails, but red and deep red, like blood. Where's Yanko? 'Twere dawn I sent him into the fields, but he's not returned. Milady, a strange boat floated past. I thought it imperial, but it flew not black sails, but red uns. Deep red, like blood. Milady, a strange boat floated past. I thought it imperial, but it flew not black sails.
Astrologers proclaim Week of the Badger. All Nilfgaardian dwellings increase population. The shadow of death's fallen o'er Lyria. Tribes of the south this way come. Price of loyalty's high, high, high. All Nilfgaardian dwellings increase population.
Horns sounded. Niamh recognized them at once as those of the Lyrian vanguard. She drew her sword and prepared to face the invader. Yet coming down upon her force were not Nilfgaardians, but bearded warriors clad in leather, horned helmets on their heads. This was not so. The Queen could not believe her eyes.
Skelligan raiders? This far inland?
But this was no time to be bewildered. Niamh spurred her horse. It neighed and reared, and then the twain leapt into the fray.
Reynard, what the devil? Sea raiders here!
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf I am.
Urio's been chosen. The gods speak to him. With us! Lyria!
We'll ransack your temples! Wipe ourselves on your vestments!
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
What is it?
Tell me you jest.
Can't take it anymore.
Ha!
You've sailed into troubled waters, mate.
Again and again and again.
More hawk devour ye! There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Aye.
You've got stones, wench!
Gods are blowing fair winds the day.
You wanna pass, you gotta pay. Can't let you through elseways.
What do you want of me?
Can't take it anymore.
Give us all you got! Discipline shall bring us victory!
The Skelligers fought hard, fought bravely, brought mayhem. Yet the Queen's ordered, disciplined force won the day. The islanders seemed entirely undismayed at their defeat. A trait of theirs, I must admit, I've ever admired.
Well, you're right scrappy for landlubbers. Lippy Goodman applauds you for your pluck, Queen. When we sup, me and the lads will drink your health.
That we shall yet see, sir. We must know something first. What brings you this far inland? What drove you from the sea?
Meve asked, crossing her arms.
Ha! What always drives us? Looting and pillaging. The coast's picked clean since long, so we set our longships up the Yaruga for gold and glory!
Amusing. I always assumed you to be honourable folk.
And who dares to claim elsewise?
Your very actions do so. You've attacked a land preoccupied, a land already at war with invaders, but I suppose it makes sense. You've ever feared to attack Imperials.
The Queen prodded gently.
What did you say, wench?
Goodmund had quickly turned red with rage.
I'll prove just how wrong you are, I will! Why, we'll be drinking mead from Nilfgaardian helmets for sundown! Follow me, lads!
Maeve smiled as she watched the islanders gather their gear and prepare to march. She doubted not in the least that Gudmund would honor his pledge.
Here the damage seems not so great.
It appears Nilfgaard's not yet turned its forces towards the capital. We're likely to encounter no more than pathfinders and foragers.
So I hope.
Give me a target.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
If the ring won't come off, just take the whole finger.
Discipline shall bring us victory!
Our ballista, your command.
The Nilfgaardian invasion necessitated certain steps. Maeve had dispatched scrolls to her garrison commanders, based upon which they were to announce general musters. She'd hoped that by the time she reached Crydam, fresh recruits would be waiting to join her growing force. Alas, the commander of this fort, one Sergeant Griggs, had only bad news.
Your Majesty, I've not the numbers to man the walls even. The call to arms brings few new recruits and more men desert each day. Folk are terrified something awful. They don't believe in victory.
They don't believe in victory?
The Queen rose from behind the table, toppling her chair.
Then let them hear how I smashed the Blackclads at Dravograd.
Quick as can be, the commander gathered all Crydam's inhabitants in the central square. Meve stepped out in front of the crowd and recounted her most recent victory. The folk of Crydam listened with bated breath.
And so, we must stand together. Fight, arm in arm. Be a wall against which black-clad hordes will be dashed.
The townsfolk responded with thunderous applause, yet enthusiasm is rarely long-lived. That born of Meve's fiery words had dispersed after but a few days. No new volunteers joined the garrison, and the townsfolk hid from Sergeant Griggs to avoid being pressed into service. Neither the town's nor the Queen's own company were reinforced, and Meve left Crydam angry as a wasp.
You see the dregs I got to endure, Your Grace. Yellow-bellied cowards and shirkers, that's who. You see the dregs I got to endure, Your Grace. Yellow-bellied cowards and shirkers.
A contract on a monster. Interesting.
As Meve and company traversed the ruddy meadows, strident voices reached their ears.
I beg your pardon. I've heard enough. A duel. I challenge you to a duel.
A duel? Nonsense. I'd sooner lay you across my lap and give your arse a thorough flailing, you scoundrel.
The Queen approached the arguing parties. Two nobles, Lords Cartwright and Mansfield. Quickly she ascertained they were up in arms over ownership of an orchard lying between their estates. Assisting both nobles, their kinsmen, armed to the teeth, prepared to leap at each other and crush heads. Upon spotting Meve, the lords lowered their voices, bowed and presented themselves. Yet they could not keep their ire fettered long, and were soon casting aspersions again.
Your Grace, Mansfield has seized it. No, stolen my land. Land that has been in my family for generations.
It is my recompense for your reckless deeds. To burn down me mill in Furchin for a bit of sawdust in your flour? Well, I never.
A bit? Oh, let me at him. Farmhands taken ill, cooks feverish, all from that manure. You are a fraud, sir. A fraud and a thief.
Though she faced the not at all trifling matter of the Nilfgaardian invasion, Meve agreed to settle the dispute. Reynard, who knew the history of every Lyrian and Rivian family 7 generations back, served as her advisor.
No doubt I would find for the Cartwrights. They are in the right here as regards the title to the land. Yet your grace must consider, the Mansfields have ever served the crown and never delayed payment of tribute, whereas the Cartwrights are litigious charlatans who owe the royal treasury thousands, many thousands.
The orchard must go to the vassal unburdened by debt. This is what I prefer,
said Meve.
Thus I declare it Mansfield's.
But the law clearly says...
I am the law, Cartwright.
Lord Cartwright moved to debate the matter further, but a snort from Reynard reminded him he stood before his liege. Mansfield, content, made an ample contribution to bolster Meve's force and the realm's defence.
Lady, something's wrong at Abbott's Ravine. I heard whinnies and screams at first. How all's gone silent.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
Abolish to your command. I'm a war sick.
Company! Forward march!
Why ever do the gods punish us so? To be cast out by Nilfgaard, and now to face beasts. Night on the High Road, a day afore last, claimed the beasts called a girly Cora or some such. Night on the High Road, a day afore last, claimed the beasts called a girly Cora or some such.
On their way to the capital, Meave and company happened one fine day upon a lone rider. Had I been at her side, I would immediately have recognized his passionate gaze and altogether chivalrous mien.
Identify yourself, sir, and your intent.
Ake of Denell I am dubbed, and my design I never conceal. The good book says the world is a garden which the gods once conferred upon man, and we men have this garden neglected. In consequence, all manner of filth has made its lair here. Drowners, ghouls, and other kobolds. I have sworn ne'er to rest until the day when, with the gods' help, I have rid the world of these beasts and pests. I wander all lands, seeking out evil and facing it in mortal combat.
Who do we spy? A knight-errant?
Just as likely a madman. How goes your hunt? Caught the trail of any monster?
Monster? Too fair a term by far. An exceptionally vile worm has made its lair in nearby caverns. It is said to be the very distillation of filth. A slithering horror. A mélange of the macabre. Its head, that of a wild cat of Ophir. Its maw full of spiked teeth. The wings of a bat it is said to have. The tail of a scorpion, and from it a thick venom drips. Learned men call this variety a manticore, or mardiacore.
Perhaps it will be most prudent, then, to send for a witcher.
A witcher? Soulless automatons they are, all, feeding on common folks' fears. What they demand gold to do, I perform without demand of any coin.
Sir Ake, far be it from me to discourage you. Your endeavour is noble, no doubt, but from what I have heard, Manticores are exceedingly dangerous beasts.
To defeat this filth alone could be a difficult task, I'll not deny. Yet try it I must, for it is what I have sworn before the gods.
We shall help you find and fight the Manticore, provided you then pledge to help us fight an even fiercer and filthier beast.
Of course, my lady. Yet what manner of horror is it? A viper? A griffin? A drake of some rare form?
Were it only. 'Tis a beast of 1,000 heads, covered in black armor, its fire consuming whole villages.
Noble lady. I know bestiaries only in parts, yet I've seen some of the world, and never have I heard of such a terror.
You need but look about you, and spot Nilfgaard's legions.
Devastating. But you must forgive me, Your Grace. This struggle between realms is not one to which I can lay a hand.
If such is your view, I shall not insist. The care you show for my folk I greatly appreciate, Sir Ake of Denell. Godspeed.
And to you, Your Majesty.
Not a... A whole village! Just one big grave now! Hallowed Mother, look upon these stricken souls what suffered evil. Protect, console. A whole village! Just one big grave now!
One of them golden stones belongs on the side of my own ship!
Lots of folk moving about of late. Fair Lyria is our own land, charming, fertile and grand. Is your Majesty also bound for the river, to camp there perchance? Fair Lyria is our own.
One evening, soldiers brought before Meve the elf she had saved from a lynching. It seemed he had been the fiend who had poisoned the water barrels from which several soldiers had drunk, then suffered and died.
Yes, I did it. And I regret it not one bit.
Seethed the elf.
Nilfgaardian, Temerian, some brute from Lyria, you Dwan are all alike. I detest you. All of you, your filth for what you wrought with my brethren. I'm proud. I am that even a few of your kind perished at my hand. Hail and Shay!
Meve pursed her lips into a thin white line. Reynard knew the expression. It did not bode well.
I should drag you to the capital, hang you high in the market square.
Meve said through gritted teeth.
Yet this you would want, Am I right? For your folk to speak of you? For your folk to remember? Well, you shan't have it. You'll hang here, in the middle of nowhere, with but crows to witness it and then pick at your eyes.
It was a summary execution. No sentence was read, no last wish observed. The elf's corpse then hung long at the roadside, as none came forth to claim and bury it.
We welcome you home, your majesty. Prince Willem awaits your return, your grace. Good you've returned, ma'am. Lyria needs you.
Home at last, your grace.
We shall not enjoy it long, I fear. Soon we must face the black-clads in the field.
Yet a moment's peace we will have. After that drubbing you gave them at Dravigrad, they'll wish to rethink their strategy.
Niamh had ridden out of Lyria in early spring, her retinue modest, as none larger was needed for the brief summit of sovereigns. She returned now to her capital, at the head of an army that dragged behind it bandits and Nilfgaardian prisoners in chains. The whole city came out to greet her, its traders, craftsfolk, priests. Also, her eldest son and heir, Prince Willem. A boy who, it seemed, might never be prepared to rule. Niamh and Willem rode side by side past the cheering throngs, their faces frozen in regal smiles. It was not until they reached the castle stables that they found a corner in which to speak freely, candidly.
Welcome home, Mother. Content I am to see you, to be sure.
And I'm happy to see you. Though I dare say I'd have been much happier to witness you leading an army towards Dravigrad. Willem, I trusted you. Left the realm in your care.
Indeed. And I, in turn, did my utmost to choose the best course for...
Willem, don't be so damned courtly. There's no one else here. My son. Nilfgaard has invaded our home. We're at war. When rulers don't strive and don't choose, when rulers grab their swords and shields and ride out to defend their subjects.
You didn't let me finish.
All right. Say what you wanted to, please.
I feared I'd be hasty, Mother, and I didn't want to be. When we got word of the invasion, the lords convened at the castle. They demanded I hear them out. They wanted to give me counsel. If I'd rushed into the field to confront the foe, I'd have been half blind to the situation, not known all the options I had at my disposal.
A ruler never knows all the options. Yet he must decide and act nonetheless. I need to prepare. I'll see you at the Council of Peers.
And indeed she did, when the peers convened in the throne room. Surrounded by animal hides and Zerrikanian tapestries, the lords stood in tense silence, awaiting the queen. When her figure filled the doorway, they fawningly prostrated themselves.
We've myriad matters to resolve, so I trust you're well rested. Whatever the case, I've no doubt we shall meet the dawn afore we're done. Firstly, we must ask assistance. Pen a letter to King Demavend. Scribe, take this down. Dear... What? Uncle? Cousin? Blast. Again. I, Niamh, by the god's grace, sovereign of Rivia and...
Your Grace, Mother, the peers and I, We've come to propose another solution.
Yes? Out with it.
We wish to acknowledge Nilfgaard's authority. Pledge fealty to the Emperor.
I beg your pardon.
The black-clad hordes outnumber our forces manyfold, and they're far better equipped. We stand not the slightest chance against them in open.
You will not lecture me about Nilfgaard's army, my son. All you know of them you garnered from coloured renderings, whereas I faced them at Dravograd. I faced them and crushed them.
But your grace, the losses! For this fleeting victory in which you delight, how many of your subjects had to perish? Bend a knee afore the Emperor, and you shall spare thousands.
Nay, never! Understood, Caldwell? Not ever!
I'd hoped to persuade you, but it seems I've failed. Nonetheless, the die's been cast. We've signed the accord with Nilfgaard. Our noble lords stand with me.
The blood left Maeve's face. She had realized her son, who had ever professed to detest politics and shirked his duties as crown prince, had just stabbed her in the back, as had her entire court.
What is this? Treason to my eyes! The gallows is what awaits you!
Willem rules Lyria now. And should you not acquiesce and approve the accord, I fear only you, milady, shall have the pleasure to meet the hangman.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Caldwell. My mother will not be harmed. Not one hair on her head. Understood? Confine the Queen to the tower.
You err deeply, my son.
The Queen was confined to a cell. Gilded armor she had traded for a simple robe. A courtly retinue for a swarm of rats. She was the very picture of misery. At the window of her cell, gripping the bars, Maeve stood powerless, her anger so great she wept and wailed. Her Lyria was free no more.
Have I come at a bad time?
Demons take you, Caldwell. You've long been at this scheme, haven't you? You left the strays of Sparla to roam the realm, to forage, so that I would have to look to them. And thus gained your cohorts the time they needed to complete Lyria's sail to Nilfgaard.
You've seen through it all, that's clear. After the fact, of course, but still.
Willem, you turned him. How?
The boy's not fit to wear the crown. Hasn't sufficient wit nor valour. I know this. You know this. Just, he knows it not. Willem fancied himself a statesman, wished terribly to prove he was one. I made it possible. I've been amply rewarded, I have. Palatine since just yesterday, in fact.
You'll have neither my blessing nor congratulations. Sorry to disappoint you.
I seek neither. I've come for another reason. To bid you adieu. Willem does not seek your death. Does not even fathom it, as you well know. Moreover, his resolve will wilt in time, and he'll wish to free you. So, come the morn, when the young king rides out to pledge fealty afore General Ep Dahi, you shall use your bed linens to hang yourself.
I see. You wish to see me bow afore you, lie prostrate, beg you for mercy, plough yourself with a pike, Caldwell. And you needn't send your thugs. I'll not falter nor hesitate. I'll take my own life.
Adieu, your grace, and use your last evening wisely.
Maeve felt a rush of despair, yet bit her lip to mute any weeping. No, she would not give Caldwell the satisfaction. Morning arrived with the sound of footsteps in the corridor. Maeve rose from her cot and stood in the center of her cell. She was prepared for anything. Well, nearly anything.
The Duke of Dogs.
Titles seem senseless under the circumstances, don't you think? Let's forgo them. I'm Gascon.
Has Caldwell sent you? To kill me?
No and a no. Actually, you're free.
How shall I put this? That cad, Count Caldwell, used yours truly and the strays as bait in a scheme aimed at kicking your shapely backside off your throne. Now, I'm hardly vindictive. First to forgive, in fact. Take your threat to send me to the gallows. Forgotten already. Yet being played for a fool, I cannot abide. So when the strays freed me, I knew what I'd do to spite the Count before I disappeared. I'd free you. That's to say, on one condition. You've got to request it of me, my lady. Courteously.
For my realm I will do this, and much, much more. Even bow for a brigand. Thus I beg you, Gascon, Duke of Dogs, grant me my freedom.
Ha! Incredible! I've lived to see someone grovel with dignity. A true ruler you've got to be. You are free.
I'm grateful. Now please let me pass. I must get to the city jail at once.
Would you look at this woman? Free her from one prison, she flies off to the next.
They hold Reynard there. And if I've any ally left, anyone who's not betrayed me, it's him. I must get him out.
Hold, my lady. Unarmed? Alone?
Have I any other option?
In a sense. See, they locked a few strays in the city pits too. Got a common cause, I'd say. Care to join forces?
The Queen took Gascon up on his offer. Then she, Gascon, and the strays snuck through the city to its dungeon. Reynard had not wavered for a moment in his devotion to the Queen. Never the slouch, he had also not lost any time.
I've inquired among the other arrested soldiers. Many are prepared to fight, even die at your side, Your Grace.
Seems they may yet get their chance. But now we must flee. All of us.
Yet in leaving the jail, the company ran into trouble. When Caldwell's cutthroats had failed to find Meve in her cell waiting for her secret execution, they had informed the Count. He, in turn, dispatched patrols into the streets. The Queen and her cohorts ran into one such unit.
Blast. We shan't outrun them. To arms! Gascon? Bloody hell, where'd you get to?
Your Grace, we must make haste. Caldwell's roused the whole city by now.
Should have listened to me, old lady.
Don't like this.
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads. Cursed traitors. My spirit's willing and how, but these damn...
Didn't think I'd leave you just like that, did you?
Honestly, I did.
Sod it all.
Watch your heads!
Again and again and again.
Your Grace, what guarantee do we have that they won't stab us in the back?
Catch! Without hesitation.
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
I thank you, Gascon. You and your men, for your aid.
'Tis nought, my lady. Strays never say no to a proper brawl.
No brawl this was. Sun rising against Mother. Lyrian striking at Lyrian. I fear a blood war's begun.
Come now. Seems to me the war's ended. Your realm's lost to Nilfgaard. You've no army to speak of.
Then I shall assemble a new one. And with it have Caldwell hanged, and drive Nilfgaard back across the Yaruga.
You're mad! How will you find the men? Riding from hamlet to hamlet, speaking from atop a crate?
No. I shall find them in Edirn. I've a favour to call in with King Demavend, and I'll sway volunteers to my cause on the way.
Well, you've your first willing warriors already.
How so?
We've nothing left in Lyria. Our hideouts are compromised, Caldwell's sure to set a price on our heads, and Nilfgaardians roam the land in numbers. Besides, I'll be right tickled to see proud Queen Meve fighting elbow to elbow with a bandit she'd wish to hang just a half day afore.
Well, it is said my foe's foe is my friend, and I'd be a fool to turn down assistance now, no matter who offers. So be it.
Very high-minded of you, my lady. So, shall we shake on't? Nay? Well then, the high road beckons. Though first we must escape the city with our lives. Follow me.
Lyria was hers no more. Meve now had to flee her capital and realm as quickly as she could. Wont to travel the city streets in a gilded carriage, the Queen now saw them from a slightly different vantage point.
Is this the only way? Are you quite certain? The Queen
is a common fugitive now, so she'd do better to pinch her nose and whinge not at all.
At long last, Meve reached the gate. Yet this she found shut tight, locked and guarded.
Gods be damned!
Easy, your grace. Nothing we can't solve with a quiver full of quarrels.
Those are our men.
They were, Reynard, were.
Gascon's raiders were poised to loose their bolts, but were thwarted when the Queen stepped out in front of them.
What's she... Your Majesty? I've orders to arrest your grace.
Place me in irons, then.
Please understand, I haven't a choice.
Fear not. You'll be rewarded by Caldwell in Nilfgaardian Florens.
The captain's head dropped. His cheeks burned crimson.
Go, your grace. Flee now, but only to return.
Remember this, Gascon. I'm no fugitive. I'm a queen, robbed of her rightful crown. And though I may need to venture to the world's end before I return, I shall have it back.